All right, everybody. Thanks for joining us tonight. Miss Bomey is quiet for a moment because she's finishing off some of the stuff for the big drawing tonight. So I'm going to talk to you for a few minutes while we're waiting on Mario, waiting on our guest to get here. We glad everybody's here. Hopefully everybody's excited. I'm getting ready to pull up the chat room right now so I can see who we've got here. I see up top we got a couple people in here right now. I want to make a quick little announcement here. So I was talking to the guys over at Boondockers today, and he has 50 bottles of the original sauce. Okay, this is the original sauce that he made right on his old, like he says to me, on my old Coleman stove, the original batches. All right, not the very first one he ever made, but made the original way he did it when he was first just cooking them on the stove. And he is going to give those away if you pay the shipping. Okay? You can get a hold of them on Facebook. So if you've been wanting to try this sauce and you're like, boy, I got to buy the sauce and do the shipping, he's got some bottles he's going to give away I think he said half-pint bottles he's going to give away just for the cost of shipping. So get a hold of Boondockers. All right, get a hold of Boondockers and let them know that you're interested in it. You just got to pay the shipping, and they're going to get you some of that special sauce right to you. Oh, he's asking me for a link too. But let's see. We got Jolson in here. We've got Douglas. I see Smile Money just came in. I know it sounds weird because I'm sitting here with Christine on silent, and I haven't got Mario here just yet. I'm not sure if he's having trouble getting in or what, but hello to everybody. Glad you guys are here to join us. He'll be here shortly. Kind of a tough topic tonight, I know, but if somebody can send Boondockers, Steven there, a link to the show, that'd be fantastic. They're looking for a link to the show right now. I see CB's in here, pre-dawn flower. Yeehaw. Mr. James Hill. How are you, sir? Glad you're here. So, like I said, you guys, as everybody's starting to come in right now, Christine's quiet because she's finishing off a few things that she's got to do for the contest. Let's see, Smile Me, you tried to email Boondockers and the email got kicked back. You can try them on Facebook, on their Facebook page. For those guys who just joined in, I was speaking with Boondockers earlier today, and he's got 50 bottles of sauce made the original way, he said, when he used to do it right on the stovetop, okay? And if you're willing to pay the postage, the first 50 people, he'll get you a bottle of sauce. You don't pay for the sauce, just pay the postage, and they'll get it to you. I guess he wants to get everybody to give it a try. It's like crack. You know he's doing it. You know what he's doing. Like he did to me. Yeah, here's the first one. It's free. Next thing you know, I'm jonesing buying more. Maybe it'll happen to you too. But yeah, that's what they said. So make sure you guys get a hold of them. We're gonna be. I'm still waiting on Mario to get in here. I don't know. Let's see here. Sauce. Yeah, right. I'm gonna send Jim. Do you need a link, Jim? Did they get you one? I'll send Jim a link as well, just in case he needs one as well. But yeah, thanks everybody for being here. Appreciate it. Like I said, Christine will be on here in just a few. She's finishing off. We had a few snafus with regard to the promo didn't go up for quite a while because I had all kinds of snow issues here. It's been getting crazy for me. I sent you a link in case you need one, Jim. Let's see. Stalker Steve, how you doing? Burnt him out last night, huh, Smile Money? I don't think so. But, yeah, it's big storm up here in New England. Huge storm in New England. We've been getting snow for hours now. Let's see there. Oh, I see Jim popped on here. I don't hear him yet. Let me see if I can get Jim. Oh, there he is.
I gotta hold on. I gotta shut down the audio on the other one. Sorry.
Yep. Well, hello. Yeah, I was saying Mario. I'm still waiting for Mario. I'm not sure if he's having trouble getting the link or what. I sent him 2 so far. I'll have to send him another one.
Yeah, he hasn't. No, he hasn't texted me or anything. I guess I better put my headphones on. Hello, Miss B. Is she hearing us? No, she's muted.
Yeah, she's muted because she's just finishing off right now. A couple of things to do with the contest.
Now, can you hear me? Or my echo? Is that okay?
We hear you fine. We hear you good.
All right. That's the fastest that I've typed in a long time, and you should be very happy, John, that I know how to work these damn spreadsheets. I felt like I was right back at work, by the way.
It was just one of those things. It's like, I mean, I'm sitting here as I get everything ready to go for the promo, then all of a sudden I lose power. Then I can't get the internet back up. Then I finally get that back up. Then we lose power again. Power's going on and off. But I kept losing the whole thing.
Did you send Mario a link?
Yeah, I've sent Mario 3 links.
Okay. Because he called on Eric's phone, and I said, you sent him a link. I said, it might take a minute because with all the snow issue things that you got going on.
I sent him 3 links so far. There he is. There he is.
Oh, my God.
Oh, he's on his phone.
Guys.
Oh, my God.
Am I gone?
Oh, my God, yes.
Yeah, like, I almost thought I missed you guys.
Nope.
See, you're not at home. You're like mobile on your phone.
Yeah. How's everybody doing tonight?
Very, very good.
We're good. How are you?
Well, good. I was stressing because I wasn't sure if I was going to meet the show because I was coming down I went down to the mountains and I was kind of going through all these windy roads and I wasn't sure if I was going to make it. So I made it back from civilization.
Yay!
Yeah.
I'm hearing stuff in the background.
That's
okay, guys. Sorry about that. We stopped at the Panda Express to get something to eat because we're hungry as hell. But anyways, I'm here.
That's
I am
okay.
here. I am here. Huh?
We'll give you a minute while I start doing some talking here and doing a little intro. So tonight, as you know, our topic is about vets and suicide. I just wanted to give a little bit of information that I found on this, and this isn't like the most recent, so please don't yell at me for this, but it said that there's 22 per day that commit suicide. That means that there's 1 every 65.
Sorry.
Bless you.
I didn't mean.
The Army suffered 52% of the suicides from all the branches in the military in 2013. The VA released the studies that covered suicides from the years of 1990 to 2010, which roughly showed that there was 22 vets a day that died from suicide. The U.S. Department of Veteran Affairs estimates that the PTSD afflicts almost 31% of Vietnam vets, as many as 10% for Gulf War, and 11% of vets in the war in Afghanistan. So pretty staggering numbers.
Yep. Now, something for everybody else. If you want to learn, if you want to get deeper into some of the background information on other things, there is a documentary called The Hidden Enemy that they talk a lot about psychiatry and how it can be bad sometimes. I'm not saying it's always bad. I'm just saying about how it can be bad sometimes when it's coupled with a lot of narcotics and stuff like that.
Yeah.
So that's something for you guys to maybe look at. You can, if you want to dive deeper and see a whole bunch of the deep-rooted facts. It's a very big study they did, but I'll let you guys have it now.
So Just wanted to say first and foremost, Mario, before we get too deep into this, thank you for joining us tonight and talking about this. I know that it's a very important topic. It's probably very near and dear to you. So thank you for joining us tonight.
Yeah, it's actually declined to 20. 20 it doesn't make that much of a difference, but any life that can be saved, any life that can be saved is always a good thing,
Mm-hmm.
So I just wanted to let you know that those numbers have changed.
Well, that's good. Like I said, statistics that I found were a little bit older. It wasn't like anything that was up to date. It was just something to throw out there to just make people aware of, what's really going on as far as, the number of people that are affected on a daily basis. Okay, so pardon me for 1 second. John, you want to fill in?
Yep, sure thing. So have you seen that documentary, Mario? The Hidden Enemy?
Yeah, I have. It's actually very eye-opening, mostly for a lot of the civilian population out there, because in reality, they are the ones that have a tendency of not really seeing the whole picture. They're not seeing the whole picture. So obviously, sometimes these type of documentaries are always good for to make sure that that we open the eyes for a lot of civilians, because in reality, if they really would factor a lot of these numbers that come with a name, I think it would change a lot of people's perspective on things.
Absolutely. Now I'm back. Thanks, John, for filling in. So kind of along that lines, Mario, can you start off by giving us like some background so that we can have a better understanding of what it's kind of like to be in the military, and maybe give some of the examples of what it is that you deal with without giving too much away, because I know there's some things you can't talk about.
Well, I mean, for a lot of you guys that may not know my background, I'm still active duty. I am a sergeant first class. Got 18 years of service. Deployed 3 times to Iraq, and currently I'm serving as a platoon sergeant for the Army National Guard here in town. I do all the full-time operations for them.
Mm-hmm.
But in reality, they are also we also wanted to. We have a tendency of dealing a lot with the active component, and because we have what they call the striker vehicle. It's a personnel carrier, and they have been used on several occasions for a lot of missions that deal with natural disaster and all that good stuff. So
Mm-hmm.
it's been an interesting ride for me, and hopefully within 2 years I'll be able to retire.
Well, that'll be nice. Done your time and call it a day. Very nice to be able to retire. Okay, so now you guys got some background of what Mario does in his branch of the military. I'm just going to take a moment to say a shout out to everybody that's here that's joined us so far. And in the chat room, we have, we've got Jolson, Douglas Walter, Smile Money, Jim, well, you're here, Pre-Done Flower.
Well, I just love that.
Poco Loco, Boondockers, Stalker Steve. And that looks to be it so far. So, anybody that is in the chat room, oh, I forgot Bearded CB82. Shame on me. If you guys have questions, please put them in there, and I will pass them along to Mario. And with that, I think we'll get started.
Now, quick, you're doing this on your own. Do you, Kitchen Bitch isn't going to help you out with this?
No, he's not feeling good at all. Not at all.
Oh, okay. I apologize. I kept him up way too late last night.
Oh.
Hey,
Yeah.
you know
It's
how
not
it is.
bad. He did something to his neck, and it hurts really bad, and it's causing him a really bad headache / migraine. So,
Oh, trust me, I know what that is.
yeah. So, anyways, here you are, co-pilot.
Yeah. That's okay. I'm not. No. It's your show, sweetheart. Go ahead.
I know, but I'm just saying you're here, and I appreciate that. So it works out perfectly because, like I said, Eric just wasn't feeling well tonight. So, okay, I'm just taking it. I'm breathing because this is a tough topic.
And it's been, I will admit, it's been a tough couple of days. I guess I should pull my microphone a little closer. Tough couple of days with everything that's going on. And I want to thank Mario for being on last night and tonight and talking about these things. A lot of people don't understand exactly how tough it is for our veterans. I'm not myself because I've not been over there, in the sandbox and everything else. My status, my things have been quite different than theirs. But I think what you're bringing light to tonight is very, very, very important because we have helped. I think, and I want to say we as a group here, everybody that listens to this, we really made a difference with Justin's final mission and bringing that number of 22 a day down to 20. I firmly believe we've had a huge, with a capital U, huge effort in bringing that veteran suicide down to 20. So.
Oh, absolutely. And I think it's one of those subjects that, you say out loud, but you don't take the time to actually stop and think about it. Think about
And also kind of keep in perspective that, you guys have no idea how much this means to a lot of the guys who serve. Because in reality, we get people to come over and they shake our hands, say thank you for your service, And,
Hey,
and don't get me wrong, we appreciate that, but it seems to me that when you say more in the monetary aspect of it, where you're helping and saving lives, that's always the most important thing here. Because in reality, as much as we would like to have the resources that we want to have all psychiatrists and all kinds of other stuff, unfortunately, we don't have that. We rely basically on the government, on the VA.
Right.
But we have also seen a lot of great,
So Mario, real quick, a lot of the guys in the chat room or girls who are listening are wanting to know what you did in Afghanistan. Can you give us the non-secure, rundown of what your job is over there?
Well, my first deployment, I was a team leader. I was in charge of about 5 personnel, and we were part of an infantry squad. Most of the stuff that we did was security. We ended up being in charge of a pretty, substantial amount of land. It was about, I would say, about 25 by 20 and miles. And we had to patrol a lot of it. We had to go to different parts of these regions and deal with people. We're basically cops. The first deployment I went over there. We did a lot of raids because we had suspected weapons caches, and we actually found quite a few of them. We ended up even finding a IED maker. I was making IEDs in one of the houses. So those are some of the things that we did on my first deployment.
So, and if I may, for people who are not in the military and in the chat room, they're like, we don't know what you guys do. So, to put it in a perspective that, say, from a that a civilian can understand, and I'm not being critical of civilians by any means, but from, say, a movie standpoint, if you look at the movie The Hurt Locker, where you watched something like that, and you see how they disarmed bombs and all this. So what Mario was a door kicker. He went through and he kicked the doors down, and they found the bad guys. So for lack of a better term, that's what Mario does.
Yeah, and it was rewarding because in the long run, we brought stability to the area we were at. We called it AO, or Area of Operations. Like our area of operations ended up being a very good one. We ended up rebuilding 3 of our schools in that area. So it was very rewarding in that aspect that, we're basically cops, basically we had a beat and we had to control it, and we had to make sure that nobody was doing anything in our sector, basically.
So you wanted to make sure that everything was safe and secure.
Correct.
Okay. So I hope that gives everybody kind of a better understanding of what it was that he was doing over there at that point in time. So now that we talked about what you did over there and whatnot, so tell me a little bit about now that we have the understanding of what you did over there, what the job entailed, and now you come back and you're returning home. How is that transition or adjustment for most men and women that are coming back from active duty, trying to fit back to homeland?
All I can tell you guys is that it is a huge transition. One that's very hard because when you're in Iraq or Afghanistan, you're dealing with the pace of always being up and down. Your guard is always up. Being around other like-minded people, and also having to deal with a lot of constant missions that we kept doing.
Great.
And then you come home, and then you have nothing. You show up to work, you report to your unit, and you're asked to start basically all over again. And in an aspect of a lot of the guys had an issue with as far as a sense of purpose. A lot of guys just didn't felt like when they got back, it was the same. They felt like it wasn't for them. Like, how can I put it? You have a 19-year-old kid who was in charge of multi-million-dollar equipment, and is in charge of things that you would never ask a 19-year-old to do in the civilian world, but yet he's doing it out here in the military. And then when they get out, they have a tendency of not feeling worthless, and that's where a lot of the issues lie, with a lot of depression and all this stuff.
Yeah, I was just going to ask that. Is that when people would go through the process of getting depressed or feeling depressed because things have now changed and adjustments sometimes are hard?
Well, if I may, as a non-combat veteran, getting out of the military and going into the civilian world is just a absolute huge culture shock. Again, I didn't spend time in a sandbox. I was out on the carriers, but when I got out and I got into the civilian world and I talked to people like I did when I was in the military, I got harangued. I got written up. I got this, that, and the other thing, and it is a huge culture shock. If you spend, say, 10, 15, 20 years in the military, and then you go out in the civilian world, it's. I'm not saying I have PSD. I don't want anybody to think that. I'm nowhere near, saying that, but it's a huge culture shock. It's, you go from a structured military environment to the wild west of the civilian world, and it's all you can do not to want to hurt somebody. I'm not gonna lie.
I would imagine that a lot of it too, like you say, when you get angry and you're upset like that, after a while carrying all that anger is nothing more than turning it inward, which does eventually become depression.
Well, and I agree. I agree 100% with you.
Everybody, but
No, I agree with you, Christine. I went through. I got out of the military. I went back home, and in my personal. I'm not saying everybody, but my personal, experience, and I didn't fit in. I just didn't.
Mm-hmm.
I hadn't lived there in 20-something years, and I was like, and everybody's this way and talk to this way or whatever it is, and I'm like, y'all are fucked. And it just, that's why I left my my hometown, and I moved back to where I was comfortable in.
Yeah.
And I know I think the biggest issue for us is the up tempo. You go from a very high up tempo to being in a combat zone, and then you come back to garrison, come back to the United States, where it's like back to normal, but in reality it's never really back to normal. I think some of the biggest issues that I had to deal with when my first deployment is that I was hallucinating. I wasn't sleeping, and I would be, my kids would be outside, they'd be dead asleep, I'd be looking outside the window and I'd be watching people come into my house, or trying to flank my house. It was the craziest shit ever. So those are the kind of things that we all have to deal with, not being lack of sleep, and then not feeling a sense of purpose is another big issue.
Well, and I agree with Mario. The whole, and whether you're in combat or not, the whole lack of sleep in the military is just a lot of. I don't know. I don't think civilians can understand the amount of stress and the lack of sleep and pressure that the military, even on a peacetime footing, what they endure. And Bearded CB actually said something in the chat room. It said there's a lot that have not. It's not PTSD, but it's post separation anxiety, and that's a real thing. Post separation anxiety, whether you were in combat or not, is a huge thing, and I think Mario would agree with that.
It's just the sense of purpose. You go from being in charge of $1 million equipment and soldiers and all kinds of stuff, and then you're back in the civilian world and you're driving a truck, and that's your whole job.
No, I agree. 100% I agree. I went from working on multi-million-dollar weapon systems, aircraft, to cleaning toilets. And I'm not gonna sugarcoat it. I was fucked. I was fucked up for many years there. So,
do you think that some people feel, and I don't know because I've never been in the military, but do they feel like when you went there, you did your job, you met your expectations, you did what needed to be done, you come home, and now it's like, did you feel like you didn't have a sense of purpose, or you felt lost? Like,
well, see, there's some
following in the military, and
All right, well, let me kind of explain to you guys this. And this is speaking on the infantry, like an infantry platoon, and I think this pretty much is the same mentality that lies in every part of the units out there, in especially, and no disrespect to any other branches, but like the boots on ground, like the Marines and the Army.
Mm-hmm.
We from the get-go, we are told that hey, you gotta watch your buddy, watch your six, take care of yourselves, all this other stuff. You had somebody else that would look out for you, and vice versa. and then you get to the civilian world and you don't have that. You have people that would betray you as soon as they get a chance. You
John.
know, they have there's so many issues that lie with that. And then that's what you miss. You miss the camaraderie of having your boys that no matter what, you know what, if I get in a jam, I know that they're gonna back me up,
Right.
and I think that's the sense that we have, is that it's 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 that responsibility that we feel that we have to, take care of our buddy, because that's embedded in us. Another thing that's embedded in us, especially when you become a leader, either a non-commissioned officer or an officer, we're told, hey man, you gotta suck it up, because you can't look weakly, or you can't look weak in front of your men, because in reality you're a leader and blah blah blah, and they have a tendency of throwing that a lot in your head, and it ends up fucking you up in the long run. Because I apologize for the bad word, but I mean, honestly, that's the only way I could say it. It really messes you up, you know, and it messes you up internally, because you feel like there's very few people that you can go to if you need to vent. Now, for the most part, most people that stay in the military
Yep.
and continue, they usually have a tendency of being able to transition better than those that they get out. I noticed that people that get out have a tendency of just having, serious issues, because in reality, they're just, like I was saying before, they just have no sense of belonging. They have nobody that's going to back them up.
Well, and even if I may, Mario, even the guys that do say the 10, 15, 20 years, when you get out, it is heart. I got to be honest, it's heartbreaking because you lose that sense of team, that sense of camaraderie, that sense of belonging, for lack of a better term. All the years I spent in the military, I fixed multi-million-dollar aircrafts. I put people's lives in my hands, whether it was they were flying or I was walking around on a flight deck. It doesn't matter. We're walking around a flight line here in Jacksonville. You watch out for each other. You keep each other from dying, for lack of a better term, because even in peacetime, the military is still one of the most dangerous things out there, because you train like you fight. So you are trying, you have live weapons, you have live this, live, whatever. And it's a mentality that is ingrained in you from day one, whether whether you're in 4 years or you're in 20 years. It's a mentality that you have. And then when you get out in the civilian world and you see how petty it really is, and I hate to say that, and I'm not trying to piss anybody off, but it really does seem petty on a lot of scales, in my opinion, that the civilians are when it comes to what their job is and what they do and how they present themselves. I mean, does that make sense?
It makes perfect sense, Jim, because I think, and I'm not trying to put myself anywhere near you or Mario, because you guys have military experience, and John too. But I guess the thing is that anytime that you've experienced something tragic in your life that's really bad, you kind of get past that whole petty bullshit of the drama that goes on and the gossip around the office cooler and crap like that, because you just look at things differently.
And again, I'm not saying I don't want anybody that listens to this either live or in podcast later on. I don't want anybody to think that I'm saying that us ex-military or military people are better than civilians. I'm not saying that. I'm just saying we have a very different perspective of how we look at things.
It's
I'm sorry, what?
There's a ton of little things too. There's a bunch. I remember when I got out, it was little tiny things. Walking by kids in the school or whatever. They talk to you like you're a piece of garbage, and it's just
Well, and it's hard. I agree. It's hard. It's hard. And of all people, Mario. And this is why I like Mario so much. And I'm not, stroking him or anything, but Mario's has been in the deep end. I mean, he's in the deep end.
Oh yeah, he's in the deep end of the pool.
Yeah, he's in the deep end of the pool, putting his head above water. Staying alive.
Well, if anything, on my Iraqi campaign medal, I have all 4 campaign stars on my ribbon. So
right,
yeah.
Exactly, yes, and I for one, Mario, salute you. I there's no way I don't know if I could have done. Straight up, I'll be perfectly honest. I'm not stroking you. I'm not doing anything, but I don't know if I'd have made it through all that. There's just no way.
It's all good, man. It's just life, man.
Exactly. See, that's just it. You're in the desert. You're boots on the ground. I was on a ship, and
but
my thing on the ship was different from yours. But here's the thing: they interact and they are the same in different ways.
Yeah, no, but I still think that, even though you were at sea and I was...
And you were sandy.
I want to jump in here real fast. I want to jump in here real quick and just make sure that we have one little piece that we don't forget about, because tonight, everybody...
Yes.
Big night tonight. This stays right with it, though. So everybody, we had the AR pistol that was being I was over helping raise money for Justin's final mission, which helps with veteran suicide. So we're on the same page here. But I want to make sure everybody is aware that is happening tonight. Okay. And for those of you that hear this in podcast, shucky darns, if you didn't get in, sorry. But that'll happen here, Christine. I don't know when you want to do it, or...
Well, how about if we just pick a time like right around 9 o'clock, and then we'll do the drawing.
Okay. Sounds like a win. I just want to make sure...
We'll probably need that break by that point in time now.
And that's fine. And I agree. I'm okay with that. What do you think, Mario?
He's muted.
He's
muted.
Having some Panda Express.
Yeah, he's eating dinner is what he is. Sorry, if I may.
Let me just jump in real fast. One last thing, real quick. Remember, guys, Boondockers, he had all those bottles of sauce, 50 bottles of sauce. If you make sure you give him a holler via email or via his Facebook page. If you pay the postage, he'll get you a free bottle of the sauce.
Right, and that's the original on his stove handmade bold and spicy sauce.
Just wanted to bring that up again.
Yeah, but and bringing stuff up, I did talk to Florida Custom today, Christine.
Yes.
Color is on the girls' build. Second color is going on the girls' build. The handrail has not been done. That's going to be done at one time, separate from everything else. Just to let you know, there is movement on it. It is getting taken care of. Hopefully, we will have a video, some pictures or something to show by next weekend. Okay.
Awesome.
And Dave wanted me to pass this on. He apologizes for the delays. A lot of things, personal and business wise, have come up. He assured me it's gonna get done. It's gonna be up to our standards. Okay, so if it's not, we will work through that. I will get it taken care of on my end. So I just wanted you, Christine, to know that this is your project, and I want you to know it's going to be hopefully exactly what you want.
I'm looking
forward to it.
I'm sorry, did what?
Don't know.
You talk too much, man. Damn Navy guys, shut up.
The ball busting, yes.
And I'm not even drinking bourbon. I mean, come on.
I know, man. Seriously, dude. Maybe you should go drinking.
Well, I have slow gin and vodka.
I see you got that Dickies cup again. Yeah, great.
Slow gin and vodka?
Well, yeah, because slow gin is too sweet on its own, so I mix it with straight vodka, and I put a little bit of mixer in it, and I have Ursus red vodka that I drank like a fish when I was deployed to Cyprus. So, yeah, because it's $120 a bottle if I import it to the United States. So I'm going to make my own. Christine. Also, I have a box on its that will be on its way to you. It's in the post office right now. I don't know. It should be there by say Wednesday, I think. So you have your own. What's in a box?
That'd be awesome. I can't wait.
It's fucked up, man. I don't get nothing like that. No love.
Oh, yeah. Well,
Hey Mario, full homo. So,
But anyways, guys, I just the reason why I kind of wanted to make this in reality, this whole show, I just wanted to make sure that we as a community did everything we could to take care of our veterans, man. And and my biggest thing is, if you guys ever looked at my channel or ever looked at my combat veteran PTSD series, I bring to light a lot of the stuff that's going on with with many of the soldiers and how they're feeling and all that kind of stuff. I think that I've had is the one that talks about relationships and having PTSD. I've gotten a lot of great feedback, from a lot of the wives that are having to deal with this kind of stuff with their.
I think we lost the audio there.
Did we lose Mario?
Hello?
I have his picture on there, but I have no feed.
Yeah, we got no feed. I think his phone's probably dying out again. Real quick in the chat room, Smile Money. Oh nope, we got Mario back.
There we go.
Nope, he just muted again.
I think he's still trying to work out the bugs.
Hey, can you guys hear me?
Yeah, we got you, Mario.
Oh, okay, sorry about that, guys. Where did I leave off at? Because I was
okay. You were talking about the PTSD and the depression and how it not only affects the soldier or military person, but the rest of the
it affects the family. I don't know if you guys had I know that not everybody has a chance to look at my channel, but if you have, I've done a series of videos that talk about PTSD, and some of them pertain to how do you deal with your children, how do you deal with your relationship. Those are all things that I just did, and I got a lot of great feedback from them. And it's kind of like the things that keep me pumped and keep me doing what I do. So it's just sometimes that's the only reason why I kind of continue to make videos, because I know I make a difference in somebody's life, and my biggest thing is just showing a perspective to their loved ones, their dependents, because I learned a lot. I learned a lot just from dealing with my own issues, in reality, it made me a better husband, a better father, because I know that I was a wreck. I was a wreck when I came back, and it took a lot for me to say, hey, you know what, I need help. And I would tell a lot of you guys that if you guys are going through that kind of issue, whether you're a Vietnam vet or a Persian Gulf vet, you're an Iraq or an Afghanistan vet, seek help, man. They're out there for you. If you don't go out there and seek for it, you're never going to be able to get yourself make yourself better. I mean, to be honest with you, I was looking at a picture of my previous platoon, my first platoon that I deployed with, and I can tell you that half of those guys in that platoon have some serious mental issues. I have a guy that decided to move all the way to Tennessee, out in the
Yeah.
middle of nowhere, and that's where he feels happy, being
Yeah.
around, just being out by himself, doing what he's got to do. And those are the issues that we need to combat. Because in reality, he deserves a better life than what he's getting. We have reached out to him on many occasions, but he's a stubborn one. He feels that he's fine, and that he can control his own life, and in reality, he doesn't. He can't control it. It comes to a point that I've had some serious people, very close friends of mine, that have passed away. And in fact, there was a first sergeant who was. We came back, and he was going through a lot of issues, and we had no idea. He was being his same lovable self, and I'm being sarcastic by that. You know, and just throwing tirades. Just getting mad over everything, and my biggest thing, because he was a very senior non-commissioned officer. A lot of people didn't want to say much to him, but in reality, he had a tendency of calling me, and there's times that he would call me, and I didn't want to pick up the phone because obviously I didn't want to hear what he had to say. Because sometimes, it got down ugly between us. Um, but those two missed calls that I missed, and to this day I wish I could take him back, because he was having a lot of issues with his wife, and he ended up parking his vehicle in front of his house, and he committed suicide. And that's it's a horrible thing to have to deal with as a family member, or or for anybody else to have to deal with. That's just horrible. And of course, the thing that a lot of people ask ourselves is, why? What is it that we missed? Why we couldn't help them? You know, these are the kind of things a lot of guys are going through right now, and we have to find a way to kind of alleviate their pain, because in reality, that pain, it just grows, and it continues to grow. It's not something that just goes away, man. It continues to stay there, and it continues to haunt them. To the point that they're not being able to be part of society. I deal with a lot of my issues as well. I
Yeah.
deal with, I hate big crowds. I hate people who are loud. I hate loud places. I hate places that have too much light and too much lighting. You know, and
And I agree with
there are
that
times where
100%.
and there are times where I'm like, I don't want to even go out, but I sometimes fight my own self, because in reality, my family needs me, my kids need me, and they need to be able to have their dad, so they can have they have good memories with them, because like, my kids are all grown up, man. My youngest is a senior in high school. The other two I have, they're already in college. So it's like, I'm trying to make up for lost time, because when I was gone, and my kids missed. I missed so much of their early lives, and it was very tough. Very tough, to come back and start all over again when you haven't seen them for 18 months, or stuff like that. You know, and these are the kind of things that you know we all have to deal with, because in reality, everybody self-adjusts. From the kids to the spouse to the service member, and it's
Yep.
very hard for them to reintegrate once everybody's back. Because in
And
reality, what happens is that the spouse has a tendency of being more independent, doing things on her own or his own, and not depending on their spouse, because they're deployed. And same thing goes with the kids. And trying to build that relationship again, it's a crucial part, especially for those that are married, or those that have children. And I would always encourage these guys to make sure that if you guys feel that it could benefit you, have your kids in a therapy session, just so they can better understand what you're going through. Especially if you have a tendency of being someone that's not very good with communicating, because I think that's the biggest problem that we have with a lot of service members. They're not good at communicating, being able to just express themselves how they feel. And I took that freaking manhood card away a long time ago, because in reality it wasn't helping me. And that's something that I think a lot of service members need to start doing. Get that freaking macho card out, man, because in reality the only thing that you're gonna have at the end of everything that you got going on is your family. So cherish it, because before you know it, it's gone. Before you know it, my kids are all grown up, but I'm glad that I have a good working relationship with them now. It took me a long time. It took me a long time for them to even stand up to their father, which is something that I admire from them the most. So my biggest thing is PTSD is a family issue. It's not a service member issue. It's everybody. Everybody needs to pitch in to be able to help that service member cope and transition back to being normal again. I mean, you're never going to be normal, but you're going to try your best to want to become normal, because in reality, you want that for your kids. You want that for your spouse. You want to have a life. Because if you don't, then that's usually the steps that happens when it comes to depression and it comes to suicide.
Absolutely.
Well, and I'm with Miss Momi. I hope it doesn't come to suicide. That's for sure. I agree with what Mario says. Whether it doesn't matter. Myself and Bearded CB here in the chat room have been chatting up a few things here, and whether you're in the firefight or if you're just in a peacetime deployment situation, I don't know, the separation is real. I mean, 6, 7, 8, 9 months away from your family, away from your wife, your kids, whatever it is.
I mean, can you imagine? I was gone 18 months, man.
Right, and that's what I'm saying. Like I was not in the in the sandbox. Now I was on war footing many times when I was deployed during my time in the Cold War and in the War on Terror. But I used to love the isolation, and I hate to say that, and it sounds fucked up. But at the time, I loved the isolation because all I had to worry about was me. That's the only thing I worried about was me and those around me. So I didn't worry about what was going on back in the States. I didn't worry about my wife, my family, or anything else, because I had to focus on what I was doing. But then, being on a ship at night, when especially in darkened ship, and you're in the middle of the ocean, and you will see things you will never see when you're standing on dry land in a city or even out in the country. It doesn't matter. When you're at sea, you see more shit than you will ever see in your life. You will see more stars. You will see the constellations. You will see the Milky Way. You will see everything.
Actually, I saw the same thing in the Middle East, and actually, for some reason, the sky in the Middle East seemed to like it was closer to you.
Right, so when you look at things like that,
it scared the shit out of you. You'd be like, "What the hell?"
Right, because like the space station, we're like, well, there goes the space station again. It just becomes second nature. But I used to love the isolation because it insulated me from from the hurt, for lack of a better term, from the pain, for lack of a better term. And then when you come back, the true reality of the isolation is what kills you. in one form or another, and it's hard for a lot of people to understand.
I mean, I don't think it's. I mean, I think maybe your perspective it might be different than mine because in reality, with us, it's all about teamwork. I don't know. I mean, I'm sure it's the same thing in the Navy, but I'm saying like for
No, it
us,
is. It's all the same.
Like for us, it's all about hey man, I got you six. And whatever we do, we ride and die, man. That's how we do it. So when. And believe me, there's guys in my platoon that, I love them more than I love my own blood brother, and I'm just being honest with him. My actual brother hates the fact that I call all my war buddies brothers. He hates it. He's like, why do you call them brothers? I'm like, shit, believe me, you have no idea what these guys have been through with me, and they have fucking been there through the worst. I mean, guys, I was there when we had the change of government in Iraq. Believe me, man, that was crazy enough. We even had a point where we even thought that they were going to overrun our camp because there was a bunch of vehicles all over the place, and here we are all just at that time we were just like, hey, man, I don't know what's going to happen. We had like 200 vehicles outside of our little base. And thank God for the A-10, man. So I could tell you, because the A-10 came out there, and then as soon as they showed up, they were gone. But,
and again, I understand that, and I think a lot of the people that listen to the show, and Miss Bomey and Eric and John and everybody, we all understand that. So it's the whole camaraderie thing. That's the whole thing. A lot of you talked about brother.
I'm gonna miss the guys. I'm not gonna miss all the BS that goes along with it because we all know that there's a lot of BS because there's a lot of it that has to do with, hey, I want to, the commanders or that sergeant major is trying to look good for his command and he wants to make sure that that's in his evaluation report and all this other stuff and it becomes political as hell, and that's the actual part that I hate about the military. It's not about let's take care of our soldiers. No, it's how can I make myself look good so I can be put on, have a good thing to be said on an evaluation report, and that's how it's gotten to the point now in the military, and that's why I hate it, and that's the reason why I'm getting the hell out because it doesn't feel like it's a you just don't feel like it's a team aspect. It's more of I call it the Janet Jackson mode. It's like, what have you done for me lately?
What have you done for me lately? Yes.
Yeah.
And I hate. I'm laughing with Mario because I understand exactly what he's saying. So, Miss B, it's 2 minutes.
Yep. Okay.
Oh, the time has arrived.
Man, that was quick.
That was a quick hour. I will admit that was a very quick hour. It was a very awesome hour, in my opinion. So
very, very awesome.
And if anything, guys, all I want to say is, if you guys are listening, first of all, thank you for supporting all of our men and women who serve our military. Those that are in that have had life experiences like myself, just want to say thank you and continue supporting Justice Final Mission because in reality, you do make a difference.
Okay, so we're going to take a break. We're going to do the drawing, and then we're going to come back and we're going to finish up because I've got some questions from Mario and everybody else. So give me a second here, John. I'm going to bring up the wonderful list that I typed in 2.2 freaking seconds.
It's snow. It's power
Christine,
outages. It was a nightmare.
And Christine, that's why you are the woman.
I do this crap at work, and I gotta go.
Right, and that's why we have you do this. Yes, because if you gave it to me, I'd still be hunting and pecking. So,
what I did was John gave me all of everybody's information for who you were and how many donations that you made. So I, in turn, put that on the list. So as an example, if you did one $10 donation, you got two. If you were listening to Jim's show hanging in the, hanging out with him and stuff.
Yes, we had 20 doubles from my two shows.
Yeah. And then the rest of them that I put on that compiled of the list were just individuals that made a one-time donation. So we got the whole list together here, and after everything is all said and done, there is a total of 116.
Well, and that again, thank you everybody very much. Yeah, thank you. That is so awesome for Justin's final mission.
And then, John, if you could just remind everybody again what it is that we're giving away, because I always
it's an AR pistol for all of you that are paying attention to Snowflake Melter, the one that is actually won by Cobra. He actually donated that back so that we could raise some money for Justin's final mission. So it is the SB3, I believe that's the right it is, the SB3.
The stock, SB3A stock.
Yep.
Okay.
10.5-inch barrel. So it is a sweet AR pistol.
It is a 5.56 .223 rifle. You will also get a care package, a product package from Boondockers with all their sauce and rub. You will get 3 AR 30-round magazines from myself and my buddy Mark up in Pennsylvania. You will get ammo from Gunwild 1. You will get hearing protection from, now I can't remember who put the hearing protection.
Steve?
Was Stalker Steve, yes. Yeah. Stalker Steve. Or was it Jolson? I can't. One of those two Minnesota guys. But there's a whole lot of goodies going along with it.
So I just want to take a moment to say thank you, everybody that did donate. This was huge. And the more money that we can raise, the more money we can get to Justin's final mission, and hopefully get another person there to do what he or she needs to do to get on the path of wellness again.
And real quickly here, for anyone who's listening to this later on in podcast, okay?
Yes.
You must be legally able to own this firearm. This firearm will be transferred only via your FFL. Okay, so you have to give us your FFL, and then our FFL will get with your FFL. So I don't want anybody out listening to some podcast thinking, what in the world? No, 100%.
It is 100% above board, legal by the state standard. So, yes.
Doing this by the book, people. So, on that note, John, how are we going to, when we're picking the winner, how are they going to notify us with their information for their FFL, etc.?
We're going to, once we have the winner, we have the name of the winner, we're going to go ahead and contact them, or have them contact us as soon as they can. They're going to have to get us their FFL, and we're going to get it right out to them. That's it.
Okay.
Once their FFL's in contact with ours, there we go.
Okay. Gunwild's still waiting on a shotgun? Is there? Do we need to address that? Wow, radio.
Oh, Gunwild, I'll have Eric send you a message on that. Okay.
Okay, there we go. Okay, and by the way, if Texas wins, Boondockers is an FFL.
Oh, what the hell? It just keeps getting better.
It gets better every day.
Hang on a minute. I'll get you going for you just a second. Gotta stir the sauce. Gotta stir the sauce. Holy crap.
Okay, so we have these numbers 1 through 116.
Yes, let's do it.
Okay, so let's do this. Jim, since
yes, ma'am.
To be the one that was going to pick the number, I'm picking it. So I need for you to pick a number between 100 and 116, and I will look at my list.
1 and 116.
Yes, 1 and 116. Okay, hold on. Real fast. Give me 1 second, because I want this to be 100% fucking totally. I have no idea. What numbers and all this and everything is, so I'm gonna just I'm typing into the web. Give me a number between 1 and 116. So give me 1 second. I'm typing now and search the web on DuckDuckGo. The number is 76.
Okay. So, knowing that Jim does not know this list, nor does
I have no idea on the list. No.
I just want to put that out there.
I don't even know the list. She typed it.
So,
From the very beginning, that's what she was doing, was typing.
That's what I was doing. I was like a typing maniac. Okay, sorry. Once again, Jim, what was the number?
76 is what I punched in just a Google DuckDuckGo search.
Oh my God, this is too hilarious. Is Mrs. Pre-Dawn.
Mrs. Pre-Dawn. Oh, awesome. And Pre-Dawn, I want to say...
He's on.
I want to say
he's on.
Pre-Dawn's in the chat room.
Yes, he is. He's on.
So Miss Pre-Dawn, that's awesome.
Oh my heavens! Yes,
I got her number. I'll be talking to her.
Oh,
well, and congratulations to Mr. and Mrs. Pre-Dawn for owning a brand new 5.56 pistol, because we know they love AKs more than ARs. So
Number 76. There you go. That's tonight's winner.
So hey, again, I'm happy for Mrs. Pre-Dawn, and Jeremy actually picked that for her, and then she picked her own. So I don't know which ones are which on that. So.
I don't know. Like I said, I just typed away, mixed it all up, put names to numbers, and that's what we got.
And again, I didn't. You didn't show that. You didn't do anything. So I actually went on the internet and random picked a number. So what the hell is that noise?
Wow. What was that?
That's John.
Okay.
I think that's John.
Well, I wonder if it's because of all the yucky.
Yeah, I think it's something going on with the signal.
Okay. Okay, so
you can't stop the signal, Mel.
Once again, congratulations to Mrs. Pre-Dawn, Caitlin, and thank you everybody once again for your donations to Justin's Final Mission. It is a big, big help. And I think it's awesome another girl won. I'm just going to throw that out there.
Yeah, gotta be honest with you. We got the girls build going on, and again, as I said earlier, color it's getting on. The women's build, we are getting very, very, very close to having it completed and sent back up to you guys. So I think it's awesome that it's a woman wins the pistol. So hey, stay tuned, everybody, to Snowflake Melter. Another one is coming very, very, very soon.
Coming to a theater near you.
Oh, there's Pre-Dawn. There's Pre-Dawn.
Yes.
It's going to be exciting. There, yep, okay, yep. There's the Pre-Dawn flower.
He's in the chat room.
So, again, congratulations, everybody. And thank you, Miss Bomi. Thank you, Mario Mosin. Thank you, John Solar. This has been an awesome show. Thank you for letting me be a part of this. It's so much better than the shit show on Wednesday and Friday nights.
Now remember, Pre-Dawn flower. Do not tell. Don't tell the missus not to listen to this show.
She has to listen. Yeah.
Make sure she knows. I'll be like, oh, I don't know what happened, honey. Looks like I won. Sorry.
And yes, Boondockers, we will get you a ship to. And John, please send me Jeremy's all the info, guys, so I can get my stuff out to them immediately. So thank you.
Yep, we got it. We'll send it to you. I'll make sure that Eric follows up with you. What am I, a secretary? Listen to me. I'll make sure that follows up.
I think you are. I don't know.
Yeah, well, I should get paid. Eric should be paying me. That's all I can say.
Oh, and that's all I'm thinking.
Oh, good. She's sitting right. Caitlin's sitting right next to her.
And Caitlin's sitting right here going, "Give me my damn rifle."
Well, if it wasn't such bad weather, guys, you could just road trip it up.
Yeah, road trip it. Fuck it, road trip it. Just come up and get it. Fuck it. And Gunwild, yes, Gunwild needs.
Yes, I will make sure that Eric gives you that information as well as the question with the shotgun. Okay, so are we done with the business with that portion of it? We're all good. Okay, Mario, are you still with us?
Yeah, I'm here.
Okay, thanks for taking a moment to just kind of hang back while we did our thing.
No problem. Congratulations, Pre-Dawn and Mrs. Pre-Dawn.
I think it's awesome. A girl one. I'm sorry. I just think it's awesome.
Really? It's going to be it's a women's movement thing.
No. It is not. I'm not going to Patel on you. Come on now.
Women of the gun unite.
Yeah.
Oh, look at David, tactical wing that shows up at 5 minutes after the show's supposed to end. And what'd I miss? Fuck, Jesus,
Everything.
Nope.
everything. Yeah,
we're still on. I just Mario, if you can hang with us for a little bit longer, I just got a couple of more questions because listening to you talk earlier this evening with everything that had to do with the PTSD and the depression and making the adjustment from military life to civilian life and stuff. And you said that it was very important that you be able to communicate, with family and maybe other people in your unit or section or however you put that into terms. Do you think that because of all the stuff that you go through, and it's probably some serious shit at times, pardon my French, is it hard for people to go ahead and just kind of open up those lines of communication for fear of maybe the other person in the family or the other member that they might try to communicate to doesn't have an understanding? And do you think that makes them feel like it would hinder the process rather than help? What are your thoughts on that?
Honestly, I think it probably will. This is my mentality on this. I think a lot of service members don't open up to their spouses or their family members because in reality they're scared of what they're going to think. Because in reality, let's stop and think about it. War is hell, and sometimes you got to do what you got to do, and you're not always going to be proud of everything you did out there, because it's war. It's
Right.
It's you against that other person. So I think that's one of the reasons why they would have a hard time trying to open up to their loved one. The other aspect is that in order for you to kind of understand my mentality, you have to be there, kind of thing. And of course, most family members, most spouses will never understand that. So I think that's another aspect in which a lot of service members have a tendency of not saying much. I can tell you that I've said a couple of things to my wife that pertain to Iraq, and it scared her quite a bit, and to the point that she kind of saw me differently, and when I explained it to her, I told this is the reason why I did not want to open up to you, because I had no idea how you're going to take it, and I mean. How can I put it, guys? To be honest with you, being in Iraq, I was everywhere, man. I was in Fallujah. I was in Sadr City when that happened. I was a change of government. Like, seriously, when I watch the History Channel and they talk about what happened in Iraq, I'm like, I was there, And I mean, it's kind of cool that I could say, hey, you know what? I was there. I was part of what I did, but it seems to me like I did more for another country than I did for my own. And it's tough because in reality those experiences that you go through while you're deployed, in a combat situation are completely different than what you would ever encounter in the civilian world. And I mean, let's stop and think about it. People would say that, people that have a tendency of being ignorant, they say that the military members are monsters. Well, in reality, you created a monster. What do you expect? You expect me to be docile as soon as I come back home? It doesn't happen that way. We can't just turn off the switch just like that. You know what I'm saying?
Right, exactly.
It's you're going out there, you're slaying the dragon, and all of a sudden you got to come home and start acting like a normal human being.
It's funny, and I think that the ones that have a harder time to understand are those that have never sacrificed. And all I can say is usually the newer generation of Americans have a really hard time understanding that. They're quick to judge and say you are this and you are that, but in reality, they have not been 5 minutes through my shoes. They cannot rely. They cannot even think about what sacrifice really means. So in reality, those are the kind of things that we're starting to see nowadays, where we're starting to see people that want to try to put the military in a negative light, and of course, it's not working for them, because in reality, regardless of anybody's position politically, one thing that I think most Americans can agree is that they do respect their military and they trust us. So, in that aspect, I'm very thankful. But I just think a lot of people would have a hard time understanding the things that we go through. Like you look at that, and let's talk about Hollywood here. I don't know what's like everything that Hollywood puts out. For the most part, to me, it's just a bunch of garbage. A lot of
Yeah.
it is
Well,
very
I agree with that 100%.
yeah, especially the newer movies that deal with the current wars that we got going on. A lot of those are very inaccurate. I think the only one that I've seen in that this, well, there's two that I see that are very accurate to what we saw in Iraq. One is American Sniper. The other one is Thank You for Your Service. And Thank You for Your Service. If you really look at that movie and you really look at the things that
Yeah.
these guys go through, like there was a scene where these guys are supposed to go deer hunting at night. But first of all, I never go deer hunting at night. Doesn't make no sense to me, right? But for us, that's the best time that we are
Well,
effective,
yeah, that's
because
that's the best time to find the assholes that are trying to kill you.
we have this mentality where we own the night, and it's always been that way.
Exactly.
And anyways, this guy ends up going in there, right? Gets up in the woods, and then he starts hallucinating. He sees somebody pointing a rifle at him, and those are the things that I had to deal with, man. I'm serious. The worst thing in the world for me is to see somebody come in with an AK come in at my house. It was horrific. It was probably one of the worst things that I had to go through. And for me, the longest, I wouldn't even buy a firearm. I did not buy a firearm until my life was in danger. And what happened with that is that there was this one guy that kept following military personnel home, and I had no idea, but the FBI had an open investigation on this dude. And all of a sudden, the FBI shows up at our office and says, "Hey, we want to let you know that we got such and such person that we are following, and they are looking to target uh, military personnel." And I felt hopeless because I'm like, you know what? I don't have a firearm in my house, and that's when I decided just to start, purchasing firearms. And for the longest, I didn't want to touch them because, I always fear what I could do with them, especially with the whole issue when I started hallucinating. Of course, the greatest thing that they ever did is when they took me to the vet center, and
Mm-hmm.
they got me with this really outstanding counselor, man. And he was a Vietnam vet, a ranger when he
Mm-hmm.
was out there, and he explained to me what happened. And it took me a year, but then finally it kicked in. I started taking a little bit of medicine just to kind of help me, especially with the anxiety.
Great.
Um, but those are the things that I had to deal with. And but then when I started handling firearms, I felt at ease. I felt like I could control my destiny, and I know that unless I could see it, like and not see a shadow, it wasn't real. And it took me a long time to figure that out. So yeah, those are some of the things that I had to deal with. And now, to be honest with you, I don't go anywhere without a firearm because I don't feel safe. I feel like I'm myself when I have a firearm with me. You know,
Great. I can understand that and I can appreciate that. Um, the other thing that I wanted to just quickly kind of talk about, and in regards to the like you're talking about some of the things or the tools that can be used to help somebody dealing with the PTSD or the depression. Do you have any suggestions, for somebody that might be listening that's really going through a rough period in his or her life right now?
Right. And
How do you get to reach out to get those proper tools or the proper help to work through this? Because I would imagine it's kind of hard for military people to ask for help when it's not something that
right.
you normally do.
There's different resources. One is Military One Source. Military One Source is a 800 number, and all you got to do is just Google Military One Source. And if you're in the military or you retired or you're a vet, call them. And what they have crisis counselors 24/7 there that can help you. And not only that, but they'll be able to point you to the nearest mental facility or psychiatrist that can better help you deal with your issues. And usually you get about 6 counselings until the VA or approves for more. Um, so that's one great resource. So Military One Source is there for you guys, especially you guys that are in the military right now. Uh, take advantage of it. The other one that I have a tendency of using quite a bit, and I use it myself, is the Vet Center. Now, the Vet Center was introduced after uh, the wars in Iraq and Afghanistan. They already had vet centers in place, but not at the point, not at the level that they have now. So what the vet center is basically is a small clinic that's separate from the VA, even though they belong to the VA, and
Mhm.
it's a transition counseling service, and this is free for all the that have served overseas, whether you served Vietnam or Desert Storm or Iraq or Afghanistan, that is available for you. Now, if for some reason you have not served in those kind of theaters, there's other options in which you can go, and those are usually you would have to go and call the crisis hotline, and they'll be able to give you those resources to better help you.
Is that the Veterans Crisis Line?
Correct. Yes.
Okay. I do have that number here, and I'm just going to throw that out there. It's 1-800-273-8255, in case anybody is interested. Um, yeah. So, anyways, Mario, thanks very much for coming on the show and explaining this. For me, it's been eye-opening because I always kind of had an idea of, what military life entailed, but it was nice to kind of open up that curtain and get that peek behind there, to see it and to get a better understanding. And I hope that listeners tonight will walk away with at least a better understanding of what these men and women do. Because let's face it, people, these people are over there putting their life on the line to make sure that you can maintain the life that you have here in the United States. And for that, I can never say thank you enough, because what you do and what you sacrifice is truly amazing. And for all of those out there that are listening that are military and that you are going through a really rough patch or a rough time, I hope that you heard this show tonight. I hope that you got validation that you're not alone. And most importantly, that there are tools out there to get the necessary help to get you back on your feet, to make you well again.
Ms. Bomi, can I just add one more thing to this whole
Absolutely.
discussion? The one other aspect that I really want a lot of service members to ensure that you're doing. A lot of us, when we start getting to the depression phase, we have a tendency of either going into drugs, either going into some sort of stimulant.
Yeah.
And one thing that I would want to tell all of you is that uh, you need to control the stimulants because the stimulants is what's continuously feeding your monster. You know what I'm saying? For me, to be honest with you, I tried not to, and I was very conscious about stimulants. The only stimulant that I had was coffee. Coffee, even to this day, it's hard for me to put it down. Is how I kind of like survive and able to deal with whatever I have. But another aspect that I ended up doing is because I didn't want to take drugs or anything like that, because that would be, I didn't want to disappoint my kids. I didn't want to disappoint my spouse. What I ended up doing is I started eating, and to me, eating was a way for me to deal with my depression.
Yes.
And I did that for the longest. I mean, I can tell you guys I'm not the most in shape or most skinny guy that I was back in the day, but in reality, it took a toll on me. For me, the food was the way I could cope with the depression that I had going on, the anxiety that I had going on. It does this happen sometimes? Yeah, still to this day,
Mm-hmm.
I try to be more disciplined about how I eat and exercising more and all those other stuff, but you have to get away from the stimulants. If you guys are doing a lot of, because I'm gonna tell you something, there's a lot of guys in the military that are hardcore. They smoke, they drink, they drink coffee all day. It takes a toll on you. You have to start putting some of that stuff down. Look, I understand that maybe putting away alcohol or putting away tobacco is really hard for you, but I'm gonna tell you something. Look at your family. Look at pictures of your family. Do you think they would want to see you, in a different light, or in the fact that where they just don't recognize you anymore? One thing that I always did, one thing that always brought me back to reality, is pictures of my family. I always have pictures of my family wherever I go. I would take as many pictures as I can just to remind me of what I'm fighting for. I'm not just fighting for my country, but I'm fighting for my family. And those are the things that I think a lot of you guys out there need to stop and think about it. All of us in the military have a tendency of putting everybody else second. I mean, putting our family second, and we need to start making sure that we start putting them first now. As much as we love the military, you got to spend time with your family. You got to put away the stimulants, guys, and you got to do what is best for you and your health. Because I'm going to tell you something. After having to deal with, I had to deal with this thing called valley fever, uh, and I mean, seriously, it took a serious physical toll on me. uh, I realized, how precious life is and how much you should cherish your health, because you could be one day here and the other day you're gone, man. So please do something about it.
Absolutely. Your mental health and your physical health can't be replaced. Take care of them.
And
Okay.
and if
Any
anything,
other?
guys, I just wanna say that if you guys are hesitant about supporting Justin's final mission, if you're hesitant about the how you guys help uh, 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 a service member, believe me, every time this group of people puts in money for active heroes, and you save a life, believe me, that's nothing to be taken for granted. You are making a difference, and continue doing it, guys, because I'm going to tell you something. As a veteran, I can tell you that is the best thing that you can ever give somebody. And honestly, I hope to God that one of these days I do get that wish and I get a chance to go and do one of those things. But I know that there's more people out there that are hurting more than I am. So we definitely want to help those out there. But I'm gonna tell you guys something. It is probably one of the greatest things that you guys can do, is instead of talking, instead of coming to me or any service member and shaking our hand and saying thank you for your service. You know what? The best thing that you can do is by putting a little bit of money and showing them exactly how much you cherish them and thank them for their service. Believe me, guys, it's a huge thing. So I urge you to please donate to the active heroes, donate to Justin's Final Mission. This is a worthy cause. It is something that we must continue to do. And I know the Bomies have been, a critical part of this. John Stoller, uh, you know,
Oh yeah.
Corner Fixer, all the other guys out there in the panel. You guys have been, a great spokesman for the gun community, and how much we appreciate our veterans. So please do whatever you can, spread the word. Believe me, the more people we get involved, the better we can save lives.
Can someone just once again put it in there so it's in the chat room for the Justin's Final Mission? Just so if anybody comes back to this and they're looking or listening to it, they can go to the page to find out more information as well. Okay, so Mario, thank you once again so very much for doing this and coming on the show. I know that this was not a very easy subject, but I thought it was very important that we talk about it, because if we don't talk about it, we can't get an understanding. And if we can't get an understanding, then it makes it that much more difficult to help people.
Exactly.
No matter,
and anything I can do for you guys, you guys know I'm here. I know there's times where it keeps me kind of busy because, I'm not only, doing my job in the military, I'm also going through a master's program right now, and it's taking a lot of my time. But you guys know that whenever it comes to stuff like taking care of our veterans, I'm always going to be there. So, and for all you guys out there that you serve, whether you served in combat or you just serve your country, man, just want to say thank you. Thank you for serving your country. Thank you for stepping up and taking care of all of us out there, because every generation always brings something more for the next generation to follow. So I just want to say thank you to everybody who's ever served.
Well, thank you very much, and thanks to everybody that is currently serving and that has served, and to their families too, because family is part of it as well.
Exactly.
And with that, if there is nothing else, any final words from anybody?
Fantastic show. This is great.
Bueller. Jim, thanks for joining me and being my wingman. I can say that, because I was in the Air Force. I was born in the Air Force Base. I can say that.
And my pleasure, Christine. Anytime. You just let me know, okay?
Absolutely. Mario, thanks again for joining us. John, thanks for putting this all together. You're the man behind the glass there that makes this all go. I don't know what direction, but we go. So that's it. Once again, everybody, thank you for listening. If you weren't here joining us tonight, this evening, live on Spreaker.com, look for us in podcast on the various sites, excuse me, on iHeart, Spotify, iTunes, Google. Check it out.
Yes, we know you're everywhere, and we're not.
I know. I encourage you to take a listen, because I think this is a very
God, I'm famous.
topic. You are.
Hey, and congratulations to Miss Pre-Dawn for the AR pistol win.
Yay! Good job.
Hey, Jim, another girl won.
Well, that's good. Hit the button.
And with that, I want to say good night, everybody. Thank you. Have a good week ahead.
Nice.
John, push the button.
Wait a minute. John's hitting the button. Can we ruin your show too?
In the bush.
In the bush.
I didn't get a chance to pick on him all night.
I wasn't going to do that.